Hello everybody. So today we are going to be fixing or replacing a zipper on our tent. We have a really big tent for the 5 of us, so I got it kind of laid out on the table here. The problem is the little teeth on this tent, we started losing some and now we can't zip it all the way shut. So we're going to put a new one in, and it's not going to be quite as long as the other one to make that arc and whatnot, but we're going to get pretty high on there, and then we're kind of sew the top part shut so that we don't have to worry about it opening up or doing anything. So what we did is bought a zipper. I got it on Amazon, and I'm going to use my 25-cent garage sale find hot glue gun to first glue it on. I was going to use pins and whatnot, but I didn't want to put a bunch of holes, and I was afraid the pins would kind of move around as I unzip it, start sewing it and whatnot. So I figured if I glue it first, it might provide some waterproofing for the stitching, and then also it'll keep it in place because I'm going to have to unzip it to sew up the sides here. So that's my first step, is to align this thing. So what I'm going to do is start with the door side here, and we're going to move our zipper down to where the edge of it is at the bottom down here, and we're going to get close to the zipper here. It's going to be off just a little bit, just enough to let the pull part come through. So I'm going to let that hot glue gun warm up, and then we'll get going on putting this together. Alright, so the hot glue gun is sufficiently warmed up. So we got this at the ready. We're going to keep everything zipped together as long as we can, because once you start unzipping it and things move around, you start getting into some trouble and need everything lined up perfectly. So if we pull our piece here, our zipper, and we're going to line it up, and we want this zipper sitting on the inside of the thing. We don't want it on the outside. You could do it on the outside, but the inside is just going to be overall better as far as waterproofing and whatnot goes. So we line up our bottom edge here, get it how we want it, spacing apart, and I'm going to come in and we're going to put just a little line of glue on here, start it out, put that off to the side, make sure we're lined up, like I said, where we want to be, and just press it into place. I'm going to hold it for a second, let that glue dry or cool, and then once we have it kind of cooled, quite enough, let it go another bit or another few seconds. All right, then we're just going to work our way down. So I'm going to do this in little sections, 6 inches at a time. Put our glue down and line it up and hold it. So it's going to be a little bit time consuming. We're going to work our way all the way up, and when we get to this side, we'll get back on it, but I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while I work to get this side all done, and then we'll get this side going, and then we'll get the sewing machine out and get it all sewed up. Alright, so we have the left side here. It's completely glued, so we're good on this side. So now we're going to start gluing the other side, which just getting it started will make it a little more difficult. I don't think it'll be that bad. It's just kind of pull and make sure you have enough glue and you let it dry, because there is going to be some tension back and forth on this thing. So start on our end here, and let's do a little strip to start. Alright, and same thing, we're going to kind of line it up so we're equally spaced away from the main zipper there. And then we're just going to hold it for 5-10 seconds. And once it's kind of set, we're just going to keep working our way down. So you just want to make sure you have enough play in the fabric, because the last thing you want is it to be tugging and it rips away from each other. I don't have a lot of light down here, so I do have a flashlight. Hopefully you guys can see okay. Alright, so let's move this camera just a little bit. Get my light back set up. Alright. So we're gonna do a strip. Like I said, I would just work it along 6 inches at a time, and then you line everything up and hold. So we're just going to work our way all the way up the tent side here to get this zipper fully in place, and once we have it there, we'll be in good shape, and we'll be ready to do the actual sewing part of this. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pause. I'm going to finish working along the side here, and we'll check in once we're ready to sew. All right, so we got both sides are all hot glued on. Again, I wouldn't normally hot glue the fabric together. I'd normally use pins or something, but with this setup, I was afraid with pins or something moves and shifts, and all of a sudden you have a weird wrinkle and something's not working quite right. So with this, how it's set up, we'll be able to just sew along it, so right along basically this side of the old zipper, and probably 2 runs kind of close to each other, because it feels like this side is right along the edge of this stitch here. So we'll do probably kind of a stitch pretty close to this one, and then one over a little bit more, just to make sure they're all good. But you can see the zipper will work up and down. I can't go too far on the bottom here because the zipper will come out, so we'll have to do something there to make sure that, you know, the kids don't pull it all the way out. We definitely don't want that either. But once that's there, then the little flap that kind of protects it from the water still covers everything, so we should still be good to go. So now I'm going to go grab the sewing machine, and what we'll probably have to do is unzip this section here so that we can now fit that and feed it through the machine. So probably, you know, both sides. So now I have a loose edge here I'll just run across. So I'm gonna get that all set up, and then we'll continue forward. All right, so I'm starting at the very top instead of the bottom, because just how it's gonna feed into the machine. So we have the old Singer Genie sewing machine here, and so I unzipped the top coming down, so it's down here, and we'll kind of feed that as we go, because we're gonna have to do a little bit, then probably shift everything on the table up with the sewing machine, and just do a little bit at a time because of where everything's at. My foot pedals down here is kind of hard for me to get to, so hopefully I don't booger anything up there as I see it. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. We'll put it on there, and like I said, we're gonna kind of go right along the edge here. If we lock our foot in, I should be able to move the needle position over so it's on this side of the foot. That way I'm going as tightly to that side as I can, and then when I do the other side, we'll go to that side to do the whole thing. So we're on this side. Let's go ahead and put some forward, and I'm already having an issue because I'm hitting the plate below for whatever reason. So that works. So I guess we'll just go down the middle, and when we do the other side, we'll just have to move it over. For some reason my plate is hitting, and I'm not sure why. It must just be just right there to where it doesn't want to do it. So we'll just keep it standard in the middle there. We'll run it right along there, and then we'll scoot it over for the next one. So put a couple in. All right as I started, for whatever reason, you can see that I broke the needle. I got bent, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace that needle, and then we'll keep going. All right, needle is replaced. Not sure what that was about. Let's hope that's not a auspicious start to our project here. So let's try this again. Put pedal in place. And let's back up a little bit. So we're just going to kind of feed it right along that zipper until it gets tight. All right, so now my tent fabric's getting tight. So I'm going to unzip a little more so that we can feed it through. I'm just going to pick this up some, pull that. That way I have some loose fabric here to work with. Over. There we go. All right, I think you can still see. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit on the actual part that I'm doing. All right. Here where my foot pedal is. And go ahead. I'm a slow and steady type of person. Everything's looking good so far, so good. And we're gonna have to, unzip a little more. Pull that up, and like I said, we're just gonna kind of keep working it until we get to the end.
We're getting fairly close here. Let's keep unzipping. Make sure that's going to work when we get to this bottom part, but we'll figure that out when we get there. Alright, so I'm just keep kind of getting the material up so that we can move it. Almost there to the end. I think I'll be able to glide this right past. I'm kind of moving some of the zipper stuff out of the way.
Alright, we're at the bottom. Let's do a back stitch. Forward. The back stitch kind of got away from me there, so I'm going to do that again. If your stitch is going to fail, it's usually at the end. So back and forth as many times as you need to. So that's that. We should be able to pull this out. Nip our threads, put them on the back, and now we can take a closer look. Let's see if we can see our stitching here. Let's see, try to see where you can see it. Since I use black fabric, it's kind of black stitching. It's kind of hard to see, but it is in there and it's looking good. So I am going to set that up and run another one, a second one. I'm not going to video that one just because you don't need to see me doing it again, but I am going to run another line, so there's two lines holding this on. Alright, so now the door side, this side is done. I ran two lines of stitching all the way up and down, so now we're going to switch to the other side. So basically I kind of swung around so the sewing machine's facing the other way, which allows us to have the open fabric that we can push through. So same basic process, right? We're just gonna start at our bottom edge instead of the top this time. Let's sneak that in there. This one's gonna be a little bit tougher, I think, because of the little waterproof strap. So what I'm gonna try and do is go slow and stitch right beside this and kind of let it, the foot is gonna kind of hover a little bit. So like I said, nice and slow. Hopefully we'll get it everything we need. Start out, let's back it up. And that needle broke. So I'm gonna replace it. I think the tough fabric is pushing the needle off to the side. I'm not 100% sure, but go ahead and replace that one, and then we'll run another one. I have two left, so hopefully that'll be enough. All right, needle's replaced. Let's give it another go here. All right, be off to the side a little bit here. trying to make sure everything is lined up the way we want it. Just have to go nice and slow. All right, third time's the charm here. I'm gonna go nice and slow on this. I think maybe it was hitting the zipper, I'm not sure. Take our time, make sure it's right. So the first line of stitching worked out that time. Alright, so our first line of stitching's done. We are going to do a second row just to make sure everything's good, and then we'll basically be done with our project. So I'm going to go ahead and pause video, do that other side, and we'll finish up. Alright, so our zipper is sewed on. We can grab our ring. Comes off nice, feels nice and secure with that double stitching in here. A lot easier zipper than the broken one. That works. Put that across, and we're good to go on that. There is one last thing now that we need to do, where our zipper above that part is coming, is all buggered up, you know, from here. You can see that from here to here. So we need to sew that part together still. And we're gonna do that by basically, we're just gonna hold these two together and run a line of stitching down. And it doesn't have to be overly secure on this one, because there's not going to be a lot of tension on it. So I'm just going to pull, this is the old zipper, pull that one down as far as I can so it's out of the way. Yeah, and this is where it gets all buggered up. So hold that there, and we'll set my machine up, and we're basically just gonna put it together like this and run a line of stitching just along it. So nothing too fancy there, and it's about 2 feet or so till we get to that. So that is the plan. We can get that set up and we'll run through that. Alright, so like I said, we just have that last thing we got to do to basically stitch the top zipper together. It's not hard, but this is it's been kind of a pain just because it's bulky. So on this guy, we're just going to kind of line it up. We're going to do this one a little bit by hand. As far as I didn't pin anything together, I'm just going to you know, take the two zippers here and hold them together. So start that out. A little at a time. I'll just kind of grab the material, make sure it's together. Up. Alright, back in business. Changed the needle, and in the process of doing that I noticed the bobbin was basically out of thread, so I reloaded my bobbin. So hopefully we'll get back into place here. What I'm thinking is happening though is I've been trying to go along this inside thread line, which is hitting the zipper and kicking it over, kicking the needle over and hitting the plate. So we're going to try to avoid that by hitting the second thread line instead of that first thread line, and see if that fixes our issue. So let's get that lined up and see. So we got all the way through. Pick that, of our threads, and that is that. We are sewed together. The zipper down here is working. It's nice and strong, it's not coming apart. So we are all set. Zipper is fixed. Can't wait for camping season to start up, to try this out out in the real world, but I'm confident it's going to work great. So that, my friends, is how we fixed the door to our tent. We installed a new zipper, and then we sewed the top part shut to avoid issues with that coming off. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns on what I did here, please leave them in the comments below. Hit like, subscribe, and all that, and we will talk to you soon.